Okay, so hi, I'm Ashton. This is my voice. You guys are hearing me talk. Right now we're going into opening up an image for this hair drawing tutorial. Um, don't mind how messy and unorganized my computer is. Take an image of Chloe Grace Moretz, and it's a pretty easy one to draw hair on. There are some that are a bit more difficult, but I use the same basic premise for everything. I'm going to create a new layer, and you see my tablet stuff. I'm going to go into brushes, and I'm going to link the brush set both below here and on the Wattpad book, so you guys can have this. And then I'm going to pick a new color, and I can't tell you why I went in acting as though I was going to choose a hair color. I just used the foreground picker. And with this first base, which is similar to like her actual hair color, I color everywhere, and it's kind of an opaque but also not super opaque. I don't press down on my pen too hard or anything for it, but I kind of draw all over the hair. It's a little messy in this stage, and it's fine. Just kind of messed up and accidentally took out the window. Don't mind that. I do that a lot. I think it happens one other time in this video. It's kind of messy in this stage. You clean it up. It's gonna look really like, oh my god, what are you doing? Kind of crazy because you haven't added the highlights or anything. That's the next steps. So I mean, like, this first stage is just kind of like have fun coloring. And when I was doing this before I had my tablet, it was a bit difficult because you can't get any pressure things with a mouse. And drawing hair is a really pressure sensitive thing. Yeah, I mean, like, that's really the big thing. It's like very pressure sensitive. So, I mean, when you're drawing on your phone, you're gonna have to be ready to like lower the opacity on a lot, like, not on your phone, with a mouse on Photoshop for hair. You're gonna have to be ready to lower the opacity on a lot of things to be erasing, and to like play around with different sizes of the brushes at different times. I think I finished the base layer, so now I'm going to create another layer, and then I'm going to choose a lighter color for highlighting. And this first base layer for highlighting kind of looked a little whack. Going to be completely honest with you. It looked very crazy. And it always does up until it's finished. And I mean, I can't even tell you that this finished thing is good, but like, this is the same basic thing that I take for all of them. So I'm just going to go in and add highlights so that we get some depth on this hair. And then another one, and then we're going to take a darker color. And then I found that this darker color really was not much darker than the original base layer that I had. It's really trial and error. So I'm going to go back and get a darker color, which is going to be too dark this time. Again, trial and error, and I try to keep the same darkness and like depth of darkness as like where they would be. So I started out with that curve near her neck because that's where your hair would be darkest and the lightest would be out near the ends. And I'm gonna think in just a little bit, grab another lighter color so that I can play around and, lessen the amount of dark highlights. And I do this on the same layer. I should be doing them on separate layers to be able to then play with the opacity. I don't, because I'm kind of lazy. And I go from there. I think I took a small break to check my phone there for a minute. And I just kind of go crazy with like drawing highlights and everything because it adds the depth to the hair and makes it look somewhat real. It's really just trial and error. I'm going to now take this hair strand, which is in the same brush pack, and I'm going to zoom you guys in soon so you guys can see what's going on. I can go over basic like commands and everything that you use for Photoshop when it comes to zooming in and and everything, but the hair strands is what I feel like is vital to pulling together the hair to making it look somewhat real, because it adds more depth and more, I'm making hand movements that you guys can't see, more field of movement with the hair, which is something that's really important. Oh, there, I did it again. Embarrassing on me. That's on me. It really stops it from looking super blocky, which I feel like has happened with my hair and with like the hair that I've drawn before. So we're gonna go from that. And this side was the better side to begin with. There wasn't as much hair to draw. I'm gonna show you guys the way that it looks in comparison, which is a lot better. We're not gonna mind the fact that like there is a chunk of hair that is like somewhat darker than everything else on that one side, because once you cut out a PNG and everything, you wouldn't see it. Going back in and drawing more lines there so that it doesn't look as blocky, which provides some more movement for the hair. The hair strands is really what saves me. I also use the same hair strand brush for like any highlighting on the face, like when I carve out like the chin with like a white highlight or something like that. That's the same thing that I use. And I think I'm going to be zooming out at some point and saying that like this is pretty much how I draw my hair. Yeah. I mean, like we have like 30 more seconds, but I think like the last few seconds are just me either finishing up drawing some hair, undoing something because I messed something up. I do that a lot. Yeah. And that's how I draw my hair.